again. This is a documentary film that I made on the subject of Sylvia Gray, who owned a store that went through various incarnations for roughly 60 years on Elm Street in downtown Greensboro, and also her grandson, George Shear, who took Sylvia's space and transformed it into what is today the Elsewhere Collaborative. So the film will take you through the process of this evolution with George as the storyteller. And I just want to say a huge thanks to him for being so vibrant on screen and being generous with the space and helping me to make the film, and also to two of my classmates. This film wouldn't be what it is without their contributions. Rick Dillwood was the sound recordist, and Kenneth Price was the cinematographer. Kenneth is here tonight showing the film as well. So thank you.
Just multiple organizations and reorganizations of the same set of puzzle pieces over and over and over again. My name is George Shear. I'm collaborative director of Elsewhere Artist Collaborative. My grandmother is Sylvia Gray, who ran the space from 1939 to 1997. It's big. It's constantly collapsing on itself. Things are falling over all the time, as objects tend to do. It's 2 full storefronts, which is divided into multiple little tinier spaces, little hovels and small spots. The store itself began in 1939. It started actually a furniture store. And then in the 40s and 50s, they got involved in Army surplus catalog sales. Trucks would come down the back alley and they would lift the pup tents and whatnot to the 3rd floor, where they'd mend them and fix them and prepare them to be sent out. Some of the surplus was drying up by that point. And so she began to get the ends of fabric bolts from the local mills and ended up collecting about 1,500 bolts of vintage fabric. She was known to shop at the Salvation Army and Goodwill twice a day. As things began to sort of pile up, it just became this massive heap that was almost inconquerable, and she would sit here among the things every day, sort of as this treasure or castle that she had. If you came in and you knew what you wanted, she knew where it was and she would find it for you. If you didn't know what you wanted, then she probably had no interest in you browsing. I mean, you have to imagine it was like a foot aisle way through the entire place. To have someone come in and move something around like that was her entire ordering system, so it would throw everything off for her. These people came in and had found a Beatles White Album that they wanted really badly and tried to barter with her for the price, and eventually she took a black marker and just drew across the front of the cover of the album, and sort of that was the end of it. She was a tough woman. She couldn't speak well. She'd had cancer in the 80s and had actually lost much of her face. She loved hats, and so I would help her sell these hats, and then no one ever bought anything. And then I'd go home and I'd get like a little check in the mail that says, "Oh, so and so came back, wanted to buy a hat. Here's $200," which is really lovely. When she passed away in 1997, it sat, and no one really had any idea what to do with it. So that's sort of the beginning of the modern history, as it were. In 2003, we came down and just began excavating, going through, organizing, moving things around. A lot of this project is an exploration of things, of consumer cultural surplus, but also of how her mind worked and imagined. She would wrap objects together in little sandwich baggies. You'd almost think she was a drug dealer. There were so many sandwich baggies around. Speaking of sandwich baggies, more sandwich baggies with her name written on it, as if she was going to lose the sandwich baggie. She wrote her name on the sandwich baggie and then did some math on the side as well. All the best clothing doesn't have any buttons on it because she's cut it off. You probably can't smell this in the video, but if you want to take a whiff, just a slight whiff. Careful. Yeah, that is the smell of preservation. All these little bits of her handwriting, of her obsessive ordering patterns, of the bags of things, of the jars of buttons. There came a point where we realized we needed to preserve some of that. We created this space called the Natural History Museum, sort of playing with the idea of a natural history being something that comes out of human tendencies towards order and collection and preservation. It sort of looks like a store, which is, again, one of the lines that we like to play with. It's that store where nothing's for sale. And there was a lot of argument that, like, we just need to clear everything out, or we need to sell it, or we need to move it over to the other side and, like, make space for people to do art. We look for artists that have a formulated body of work. They have some similarity with the materials that we have available, and or the architectures that are here. This is what we call sprucing generally, where you might take a group of objects and randomly begin arranging them into various orders and compositions, sculptural and whatnot. Offer that as a backdrop there.
So what we're witnessing right now is just art being created.
It is just art happening live. Behind you is Super Piano Bouncy Ball.
Starting to get the impression this is just really like your fun house.
It is very much a fun house. It's like a big playground for adults. When we have artists here, we run a food cooperative. It's all vegetarian, totally brilliant stuff. And we will have any given night anywhere from like 12 to 20 people eating dinner every night, which is pretty amazing.
Why vegetarian?
Easier, it's cheaper, and a lot of our artists tend to be vegetarians. So it just crazy hippies, yeah. Occasionally we'll have meat club or like crab club, and people will sort of pool separate monies. Dessert club is a big one. People will pool additional money to make a pie or something like that. This is an old blueprint of the back alley.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, these are different. These are things that I'd talk up to Minneapolis when I was building an upside down boat. This is our worm composting. Let's see what we got here. Where are the worms? Hey guys. I hope they last the winter. Hey guys. Well. Oh yeah. I'm just getting started.